Yeah.
It started? Yeah. All right. So now we're going to continue with the story from the Lubavitcher Rebbe's Memoirs. I said last week that we were finishing up with the history of Lubavitch, and I was wrong. We have one more. There's a little bit more history with Lubavitch. So last week we were talking about Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef was the Rav of Lubavitch, and then he became the Maggid of Lubavitch because he kept on traveling far away, and he went away for 2 years, and when he came back, he gave Binyamin, there were the two boys who were raised together, Binyamin and Wolf. He gave Binyamin the position of Rav, and he was the Maggid. And we learned that he had a whole new way of serving Hashem, and that he was a Chassid of the Baal Shem Tov. And now they're going to explain how he became a Chassid of the Baal Shem Tov and what happened. So there are going to be some stories in here, but a lot of this is going to be history. So in the 1640s, the Jews in Russia went through a terrible, terrible pogrom. The Cossacks started going around and massacring the Jews. And many of them died, and they had to leave their homes, and they ended up going to the big cities where they thought it would be safer. But they had a very difficult time making a living. They were unemployed, they were impoverished, and it was a very terrible situation. It was so difficult to make a living that the kids, little kids, had to go to work to support the family, and the parents were struggling so much to make a living that they didn't have any time to spend with their kids. They weren't able to teach them Torah, and things were really in dire straits. So about 20 years later, in the 1660s, a group of mystics got together to try to strengthen Judaism. Now, there are two different kinds of mystics. Some people were going around just to improve themselves, and some people were going around to help other people. And so these were the mystics who were going around to help other people. The Baal Shem Tov was born in 1698, and he was orphaned when he was 5. He lost both of his parents, and he used to just wander around in the woods. And when he was 10 years old, guess what happened? He was out in the woods, because he used to be out in the woods and pray. He was out in the woods, and he saw a mystic out in the woods with talis and tefillin on, learning Gemara, and he hooked up with him, and he said, "Hey, I don't want to stay here. I don't want to stay with my relatives. I want to leave town. Can I go with you? I'm just going to leave. Let's go with you." And he did. 10 years old, he went with the mystics. And then when he was 12, this was in 1712, guess what? He started becoming the leader of the mystics. They said that the Baal Shem Tov had incredible leadership powers. So even though the mystics were doing things to help people, he said, "Guys, we have to get organized. We're not doing this in an organized fashion. We have to come up with a game plan on how we're going to help the Jewish people." He says, here's the game plan. This is what we're going to do, guys. First, we have to help the Jews physically. They've got to get out of the cities where there's no work, and the living conditions are terrible, and it's filthy, and they've got to go back out to the country. They've got to start becoming farmers, artisans, buy mills, inns, whatnot. They're going to have a much better living, and they'll be able to take much better care of their kids. Don't you like it when your tati's able to buy you things, and you have a nice house and a place to sleep, and you're able to play? It's much better. How are you going to learn Torah if you don't have that? He says, first, the parents need a parnasa, and they need to take better care of their kids. And once we do that, once they have a better parnasa, and they have a little bit of free time, and they can rest peacefully, then we can help them. So all you guys, you need to start going out in the country, and you need to start getting jobs out there too. Because when they see that you can do it, and you can be a gardener, and you can be a farmer, and you can be a cobbler, and you can be a blacksmith, they're going to go out and they're going to join you. So we have to go out and get just regular jobs just like everybody else, and we have to help them physically. After we help them physically, then we can help them spiritually. So all the mystics, I'm assigning you guys different jobs. You're going to be an elementary school teacher. You're going to be a shliach in this town. So it's basically sort of like Chabad. We're sending you out. You're going to have a mission. This is going to be your area. And everybody had a job to do. And around 1734, 1735, the Baal Shem Tov revealed himself. Now, he sent a shliach out to Lubavitch, but they didn't know he was a shliach. Right now, it's pretty secretive, and his job is to find people who he think he could bring in and bring them to become a Chassidim. And he spotted Rabbi Yosef. And he says, you know what? I think this guy has it in him. He could tell that Rabbi Yosef wanted a new way of serving Hashem. So he spent a month learning with him. And after he learned with him a month, he said, I've got something to tell you. He says, what? All that stuff I taught you, you know who this came from? Who? The Baal Shem Tov. And he told him about the Baal Shem Tov. He says, please, please take me to meet the Baal Shem Tov. And he took him to meet the Baal Shem Tov. And then he became a follower of the Baal Shem Tov around 1736. So he's, making Lubavitch a place open to Chassidim, and he's teaching them all about Chassidus, but they don't know it. Then it wasn't until Shavuos, is Shavuos coming up this week? Yeah. On Shavuos, 14 years later, 1750, the Baal Shem Tov says, I have a mission for you now. So in 1750, on Shavuos, he says, I have a mission for you. I want you to go to this town. There's a yeshiva there. They give the name of the town, but I forgot it. I want you to go to this town. I want you to go to the Rosh Yeshiva. There's a boy there. You know what his name is? Yisachar Dov. I want you to tell the rabbi that you want Yisachar Dov to marry your only daughter, and I want him to come to Lubavitch. So he does that. He goes there. He goes to the Rav. Tell me about. I'm looking for a shidduch for my daughter. Can you tell me about each of the boys? He says, well, we've got Sholem Chaim. He's a very nice boy. Comes from a good family. We have Baruch Mendel. Also very nice book. We have Yisachar Dov. Yisachar Dov. Tell me about this Yisachar Dov. Oh, he's a very nice boy. Comes from a very fine family. He says, yes, I would like to meet him. He meets Yisachar Dov. He says, Yisachar Dov, I think you are the right shidduch for my daughter. How would you like to come to Lubavitch? I'm the Rav. I'm the Maggid. You'll be my son-in-law. He said, I would love to do that. He says, okay, but I want you to stay in yeshiva for one more year. And then he brings Yisachar Dov back to Lubavitch in 1751. And he starts teaching him Chassidus, but guess what? He doesn't tell him anything about the Baal Shem Tov. And there's some other secret Chassidim there. And then finally, after he marries his daughter, 1755, he tells Yisachar Dov about the Baal Shem Tov, and he takes him to meet the Baal Shem Tov. And you know what Yisachar Dov ended up doing? He ended up becoming the teacher of the Alter Rebbe 2 years later. He was the Alter Rebbe's teacher. And we said early on that the Baal Shem Tov had three yeshivas, I call them Lubavitch yeshivas, but Chassidic yeshivas, and Yisachar Dov was the head of one of them in Lubavitch. So how did the Baal Shem Tov go about teaching people Chassidus? He did something which was remarkable. He was only 12 years old. There's a lot of stories about the Baal Shem Tov. He was only 12 years old, lots of stories, and he was dressed like a plain person. He would go out in the marketplace, and he would just say, people, everyone get together. I'm going to tell you some amazing stories. And he would start telling stories of the Gemara, stories of Tzaddikim with lessons. A couple people would stop by. They would start listening. They would be interested. People would walk by. They said, wait, someone's listening to this guy. What happens when you see everyone listening? Crowd builds up. They're listening to him. And he would go and he would tell people stories. And people loved it because he was a rabbi who would actually talk to people. And yesterday, I was at the Shloshim yesterday, and there was a lady who was talking about her experience with Rabbi Alevsky, and she said, it was amazing. I never heard of a rabbi who would actually talk to anybody. I knew of big rabbis. Oh, yeah, big holy rabbis, old rabbis. But I never knew of a young rabbi who cared about anybody. I never knew anyone who would actually talk to you and ask you your questions. And you want to know why Rabbi Alevsky did that? Because he's a shliach of the Rebbe, and because he's a chassid, and he's a follower of the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov started that. We're going to take it to the people. We're not going to wait for people to come to shul, to us. We're not going to say, here's a shul, come here. No, we're going to bring it to them. And he would go out to the marketplace, and he would go to people, and we'd go to people's doors, door to door, and start talking to them, telling them stories. And there was one big problem that Baal Shem Tov needed to fix. The kids and their parents, they didn't have a good relationship, unfortunately. The parents were so busy with work, and the parents had suffered so much, and the kids were doing difficult work, that there wasn't a good relationship between children and their parents. So he would talk to the kids and tell the kids, you really need to respect your parents. Your parents are going through a really rough time like now. Things are going to get better. And he started rebuilding the relationship between parents and their children. He started teaching them Torah, and he was telling them stories about how a simple Jew is so important. He says, people treat you like dirt, right? He says, yes, we get treated like dirt. But guess what? Dirt is very valuable. What do you find in the dirt? You find gold and silver and diamonds, and everything comes from the earth. He says, fruit is good, right? Oh yeah, fruit is good. You have grapes. Grapes are good. But guess what? The leaves, they all comes from the ground. The leaves are important too. He says, regular people, the grapes, they are the Torah scholars, yes. But the leaves, the grapevines, they protect them. Without the grapevines, there wouldn't be any grapes. So he's basically saying, yes, it's important to have the Talmid HaChacham, but the regular Jews, if it wasn't for you guys, guess what? There wouldn't be any shul. There wouldn't be any rabbi if there weren't the people. They need you too, and you are very important. So he would build them up that way, and basically, this was the beginning of Chabad Chassidim as we know it now. This was the foundation set by the Baal Shem Tov. Did it work?